Hey everyone, welcome to All Techies. I'm Pankaj Rai, and in this video I'm going to talk about constraint layout. So this video is more focused on the constraint layout itself rather than pinpointing the individual features of constraint layout. For individual features of constraint layout 2.0, I've created tutorials and I'll give link in the description below. But this video is primarily focused on why should you use constraint layout. Should you consider replacing your existing view groups like linear layout, relative layout, or frame layout to constraint layout? What happens when you convert your views from the existing view groups to the constraint layout? Do you see any sort of optimization, the speed? We'll see all of them in today's video. So let me switch to the XML first. Now you could see that I'm using constraint layout with just a single text view. And say that I have one more text view here. So this is one text view and here is another one. So the prime idea to show here is like I have two text views and they are just aligned on top of each other, like one, and then just below I have another text view. During this situation, using constraint layout is not an optimal solution. Why is that? So the first thing is, what is constraint layout? Constraint layout is a new layout which was designed. It's not an extension of relative layout or linear layout or any other things. So constraint layout major feature here is it's having an ability where you can align the view based on certain constraints. Just like linear layout or relative layout, it also extends view group. And it primarily focused on having constraints like constraint left, right, top, bottom, circular view, bias, barrier, all sort of things we have with constraint layout. And all of them are really helpful if you are having a complex layout and you want to design without increasing the hierarchy. Then constraint layout is useful. So if you have this kind of view where just have one view and below that you have another view, for this the best layout is linear layout. And then according to your need, you can give orientation either vertical or horizontal. So why you should not prefer to switch from linear layout to constraint layout if you have this simple view? Any sort of optimization here? Then yes. When you use linear layout, it has to go through just a single pass to draw the views on screen, provided you are not using weights. So pass is something you should say, like before rendering these views on screen, the one pass is to get the views and it has to run through the views once again to align them on screen. But if you do not use weights with linear layout, all these things will get executed only once. It will run through all these views only once and will show them on screen. However, if you add weights here, weight sum as this, and then weight as 1 and 1. Now, during this situation, either you use constraint layout or linear layout. Both are going to give you same performance. Because as you have given weights, and initially it doesn't understand about it, that how much width or height it has to occupy on screen. So one pass has to go through to check out that how many views do you have. And the second pass is to accommodate the space on screen. And now if you could replace this with constraint layout, that by default runs with two passes, which means that first pass is just to get these views, that how many views do you have inside this, and the second pass, during the second pass, it's going to place this view on the screen. Now about relative layout, should you prefer using relative layout? Then the answer is completely no. If you are using relative layout or percentage relative layout, then I would strongly recommend switching from relative layout to constraint layout, because the overall objective of relative layout was also to align based on some other views. And constraint layout is also based on that. Here you align based on different views plus screen also. So if you are having relative layout, then I'd say there's no point of using relative layout. You can completely switch to constraint layout. As for relative layout also, before views get rendered on screen, this has to get executed 2 times. So it's just a 2 pass, where the first one is to get the views and the second pass is to check out where should these views get aligned on screen. How about frame layout? So say that instead of this I have frame layout, and my earlier layout was like I had one on top and another text view was at the bottom. Now during those situations I could use something like gravity bottom. The layout is as simple as placing the layouts with the gravity is sufficient. Then frame layout is the best out of all the layouts that we have, all the view groups. Why is that? So it's because this runs with single pass only. Why do it run with a single pass? It's all because it's like a stack. Inside frame layout, if I add 10 more views, they all will stack over each other. And as they are stacking over each other and the positions are just defined using the layout gravity, so this has to run only through the single pass. And just with a single pass, it will have a capability to draw these things on the UI. So just to summarize, frame layout is the best if you want to use in a way where it should form a stack, where layout gravity alone is sufficient. Second, linear layout. If the layout is as straightforward as creating a form where you will not increase the hierarchy, then linear layout is best to use. However, even if you have a single hierarchy inside the linear layout, for example, say I have a linear layout, I'm not using weights, everything is well and good, but now say I'm using another linear layout because of some reason, or say because of different orientation. Say material button, wrap, and I want to have a bit of padding in between. Let me add margin start as say 56 dp. Now most of the scenarios we see this kind of layout where initially everything is like a horizontal views or the vertical views, and then suddenly we have a requirement of other type of orientation like horizontal with vertical, vertical with horizontal. Like here this text view, which are verticals aligned, and now I need a layout where I should also have a horizontal layout. Then this is one of the most common scenario we have seen with linear layout. But if you are using this one, then I would again recommend to use constraint layout. Why is that? Because this was running with a single pass before, as there was no weight sum associated with this, no weights given to the views. But however, as you have added another linear layout, so this again has to run through 2 steps. One pass for this linear layout and the second is for this linear layout, this full. And that is one of the major concepts that why you should avoid increasing the hierarchy. Now think of a case that you have a weight given for this, weight as 1, weight as 1, also weights given for these views also. Now what do you think, how many passes this is required before rendering this view on screen? Well, it has to run 4 times before it can render the views on screen. And the reason is it starts with the inner layout. So this will run through 2 passes, and then because weights are given for the views, so this will also run for 2 times. So 2 plus 2, 4. Now if you have more hierarchies, say I have One more linear layout. Again, this for 2, this for 2, 2 plus 2, 4, and this for 2 once again. So overall 6 times this has to get executed before it can render the views on screen. And this is going to cost you because the performance will not be so good if you are increasing the hierarchy. And that's where constraint layout is so powerful, because you can achieve this kind of layout without increasing the hierarchy. So that's it for this video, where the main focus was on why should you use constraint layout, is it really useful to use it, and what's the performance benefit that you get with constraint layout. In the next video, I'll talk about the individual features offered by constraint layout which are really helpful for the developers. So if you haven't subscribed this channel, then do subscribe the channel, and if you have liked this video, then hit the like button. So stay tuned, and thank you so much.